Who are your neighbors and how well do you know them? What do you do when you happen to be neighbors with a group of people who seem psychopathic and have no respect for your space and your safety? What do you do? How do you even know whether your neighbor is of sound mind? When you meet your neighbor in the morning and you say, "Hi neighbor, good morning," how do you know you are not greeting your killer or somebody else that could end up endangering the safety of you and your family? This is the case of the brothers from hell. If you are ready, buckle up and then let's go for the ride. The Lanz Brothers, as they were popularly known, consisted of two blood brothers, Austin and Matthew Lanz. These two guys would go on to raise a ton of terror on their neighbors and other people within the community that they were living in. Leading up to the year 2021, a series of offenses would be committed by these two brothers in various forms, at various degrees, and with various devastating consequences. I'm going to give an account of the things that these two brothers did, and as we go through this video, I hope you are able to reflect and know how to assess your neighbor going forward as far as your safety, security, and well-being is concerned. If you see something, don't hesitate to report to the police. It could be a symptom of something else bigger that they are capable of doing but are yet to do. Fast forward, a grand jury in Georgia returned an indictment against a 22-year-old man accused of murdering through gunshots a married couple in their new home and leaving the victim's 2-year-old son alone in the house for several hours with the dead bodies of his parents. This is how barbaric this guy was, and the victims were just new in that home and in that neighborhood. The corporate investigations would reveal was none other than Matthew Scott Lanz, one of the two Lanz brothers. Matthew was also accused of stabbing a police officer in the neck earlier and was charged with the November 2021 murders of Justin Thompson Hicks and his wife, Amber Hicks. Lanz is the brother of 27-year-old Austin William Lanz, who has his own criminal record as well. Austin William Lanz is accused as the person who made national headlines in August of 2021 after killing Officer George Gonzalez of the Pentagon police at a bus station near the federal building. Now, this is the tall rap sheet put together by these Lanz brothers. The 13-count indictment filed in Cobb County Superior Court charged Lanz with 2 counts of malice murder, 4 counts of felony murder, 1 count of home invasion, 2 counts of aggravated assault, 2 counts of possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, 1 count of second-degree cruelty to children, and 1 count of tampering with evidence. Unlike most states in the United States of America, Georgia does not delineate murder by degrees. Instead, the law distinguishes between malice murder, killing someone with malice aforethought, and felony murder, causing someone's death in the commission of a felony. The 4 felony murder charges stem from Matthew Lanz allegedly fatally shooting Justin, a 6-year veteran of the Cherokee County Fire and Emergency Services Department, and his wife Amber during the ongoing felonies of home invasion and aggravated assault. The cruelty to children charge stems from Matthew Lanz allegedly leaving their then 2-year-old son, name withheld here, alone with his murdered parents. The affidavit stated that Lanz caused their son cruel and excessive physical and mental pain by leaving their son with the deceased parents inside their home, and this resulted in the infant being alone and unsupervised for approximately 12 hours, during which Jacob Hicks was unable to feed himself, change his diaper, or get the attention of his parents. This is deep, and you would begin to wonder what goes through the mind of such a person to be able to do this. Prosecutors going on also alleged that Lanz, after fatally shooting the couple, collected the shell casings from the home, claiming that he did so as to avoid apprehension and otherwise obstruct the prosecution of himself. This would eventually lead to the charge of evidence tampering. Looking at the facts of the case, it turns out Lanz lived just around the corner from the home where his victims had moved in only a few months earlier. His victims, the Hicks, had their home sharing a backyard fence with the Lanz's home. So, this brings up the issue of neighbors. According to the previous owner of the Hicks home, called Philip Brent, Lanz and his older brother conducted a long harassment campaign against him and his fiancée when they lived in the home that they would exit and the Hicks would take over and eventually get murdered in by Matthew Lanz. 2 days after Lanz allegedly murdered Justin and Amber Hicks, officers with the Sandy Springs Police Department on the 19th of November responded to a call about a possible break-in at a home. In the instances that would follow, a police patrol car was reportedly already in the area, since someone had already called 911 due to reports of a suspicious person being seen in the area. Fast forward, the officers would arrive and confront the alleged perpetrator who was still in the house. The alleged perpetrator would later be identified as Lanz, and at a point during the confrontation, a struggle ensued, at which point Lanz stabbed the officer multiple times throughout his body. As this ensued, one of the officers also shot Lanz in an attempt to stop the stabbing. The officer who was stabbed sustained stab wounds to the neck and his back, and Lanz was also shot twice by the officers. Both the wounded officer and Lanz were rushed to the hospital for treatment. Luckily, all of them survived. Matthew Lanz was released from the hospital and booked straight away into the county jail. The officer who was allegedly stabbed was released from the hospital after about a day, whilst Lanz remains incarcerated since his arrest. The double homicide took place just months after the Pentagon stabbing. On 3rd of August, an attack reportedly happened, and this attack was without provocation, and it involved the other brother, Austin Lanz, who also just stepped off a bus and he just used the chance to attack a Pentagon police officer. And like I said, this was without provocation. After the attack, Austin then went on reportedly to use the officer's gun to shoot himself and commit suicide by so doing. Now, you look at these two brothers and the rap sheets that they've put together, and imagine if these guys are your neighbors. It's yet to be established what the cause of all this was, what their motives were. Although there are instances where they were seeking to harass, I think there could be a deeper root cause as to why somebody would attack somebody unprovoked and end up committing suicide by so doing. Wherever you find yourself, be friendly with your neighbors, but keep an eye out for irregular attitudes and behaviors from them. You never know who your neighbor might turn out to be. Stay safe out there.